All right. Howdy, everyone. Thanks for joining. Just wanted to do a quick update on where I think Bitcoin is headed and a few other things. I'm RangaDad. This is not financial advice. This is just the way I'm looking at the market. I do this because it helps me putting things out there. Holds me accountable to myself, even if no one watches these videos. But I figured, why not? It might help someone else as well. So without further ado, I'll get into it. Hopefully we got enough video coming through. It's not too sketchy. I'm getting a warning at the moment. Feel free to post something in chat to let me know it's okay or not. I've tried to can most of the things that might be sucking my bandwidth. Anyway, so again, we start with the daily candles, and it looks like we're getting a good retest of the breakout level. So generally, I thought it might only come down to this support. I knew the 45,500 was going to be a key level, just because the top of these wicks here were around that level. And if we look left, we got the bottom of these wicks as well. So it turns out it's gone a little lower than that, which is handy. I was telling the guys in the Steady Stack Discord today that I've put an order in at 44,800 myself, which hasn't been hit yet. Looks like it's just off. Sorry about that. So we'll see if it comes down. The reason I put it there was basically the 200 EMA on the daily is coming in at around that level. If we just have a look, the 200 EMA is 44,781. So I want my entry point to be a bit above that in case it doesn't quite get down and hit it. The other good thing about this level for me was, if we look at fib retracement, that level there, generally your strongest bounces occur sort of off that 50% and the 38% mark. So we're sort of sitting around that level with the 200 EMA. I figured we could drop a little bit further. but I didn't want to risk missing out in this case because I don't expect we're going too much lower at this particular point. My stop loss is actually going to be below here. It's about 43,200, just to give me a bit of breathing room. I'm going to watch this. If it comes down into this area, I may make it a little bit lower, but I'm not going to run too much risk on this one because we have seen false breakouts of levels before with Bitcoin. I don't think it will be a false breakout, and the reason why is basically your Bitcoin shorts from Bitfinex are bottoming. So they've come way back down to pretty low levels. So I'm fairly confident there's no big players that are making shorts at the moment. So at the moment, it's probably just retail, potentially some of these guys still pulling out of their shorts. So I'll just go back to Bitcoin and finish that train of thought. So I've basically just drawn a box in here of where I'm looking for it to turn around. If we get a daily close below this box, then we're basically coming back into this region, and it's going to be quite critical. The next day's candle after that will be very critical to see whether it can recover or not. If it does break below that, then it's going to start getting a bit dicey. I'll just move over to Ethereum. Oh, actually, sorry, I'll go back. I was watching this price action last night on the hourly. Basically, we were forming really good market structure here. I tend to draw all my trend lines normally just based on the candle closes. I take into account the wicks, but a wick is basically if you're wicking up and if the candle's going up and it comes back down and leaves you with a wick, it means the sellers have a bit of control there. If you've got a wick to the downside, it means the buyers are in. They're in the market. They're looking to buy, and it's just an arm wrestle between the two. So these sort of candles here are strong indications that it's going to go up from there. How far it goes up is the other question. So generally, I don't use the lower time frames for predicting sort of price direction. I look at them for knowing when the best sort of time to take action is going to be. So I was just watching this to see when it was breaking out of this channel that it was forming. And obviously it broke out down here and we're on the way down. Now, the 4 hourly, yeah, looking pretty sick still. We've come down below this candle here on the 4 hourly, so I am expecting my target to be hit still, and potentially we'll go a little bit lower than the 44,800. All right, go over to Ethereum. Just go to the daily, the higher time frames, particularly the daily. At the close, I should have a look at the monthly on these. See what we're looking at. That's a pretty strong close for Ethereum on the monthly. We've closed just above the wick, I think. The high is 328,475. The closing point on that one is the 283. So it's just closed below the wick on that. But in general, that's looking pretty strong. The body of that candle is closed quite high on the monthly. Quick one, looking at Bitcoin on the monthly. Yeah, similar story for Bitcoin. Not quite as strong for Bitcoin, but as I've said in previous videos, I think this run may lead us up into the middle of this gigantic channel that we've got happening. I have a feeling that we may get some turnaround somewhere in this region here. If not, if we get lots of institutional adoption, if we get lots of FOMO coming into the market, then yeah, no worries, all-time highs. So I'm just watching with caution on what's going to happen in there, because there was some indicators that were firing in the last few weeks that were suggesting we may see more downside for a longer period. But one thing I have mentioned in these videos is crypto now is a hell of a lot different to what it was back here. You've got a lot more institutional investment. It's being traded by a lot more guys that are used to trading stock markets and stuff like that. So it's being analysed more, and it's being traded more cautiously, in my opinion. So whether we've already seen a lengthening of cycles and a shortening of percentage gains. So whether we actually see that leading to different sort of price action as to what we would normally see, I have a feeling that's going to be the case. But look, in general, this is a pretty good base for me. I did mention that I started sort of buying some of the smaller cap coins and things around here. And yeah, I think we've got a little bit of upside left in it, but it's worth watching quite closely. So Ethereum's doing its retrace thing as well. It's nearly hit that top peak there. There's not much else stopping it there. There is a bit of a turnaround point there as well. And here we go, keep looking back, fair bit of price action around that area. Whether it sits here for a little bit before it takes off again, or whether it actually comes back down to this 200 moving average, I think I would actually prefer to wait and see on that. The 200 EMA at the moment is pretty close to the 50 fib, so that is probably a better level, but at the same time, that support level I've drawn there is on the 38 basically, so it's not a bad level for it to actually go for its next little run. And if we look at it from the point of view of each of these little pumps, it has actually pumped a bit more in this run than the last one, which suggests to me that it might be what is called an Elliott wave pattern, which normally, from memory, it's the Elliott wave. I haven't looked at patterns for ages. But generally, the third pump is a little bit smaller than the second pump. The second pump tends to be the biggest pump in a run before any sort of major difference. So I think that would sort of be my target from here for Ethereum, somewhere around the 3,800. And if we did the same on Bitcoin, it's got the same sort of pattern going on. That distance there is shorter than this distance. And you'd be looking at somewhere around that 51,000 mark, I think. So that's not a bad target. That's how I've set up my trade in this particular position. Buying in around here, stop loss down here, and I'm taking profit up here somewhere. So that's it for now. I just wanted to have a quick look. I haven't actually looked at these offline. Okay, so we have closed this gap here on the NASDAQ. That's handy. And yeah, the SPY's closed the gap as well. So it looks like we inverted as well on the yield curve, so that's interesting. We're looking for some sort of recession or something in the next 2 years, basically. IWM. Okay, so we've closed all the gaps on the major indices by the look of it. So it could be potentially getting another bounce here. April's normally a good trading month for stocks, so that's potentially, we're looking at an increase from here. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen anyway. So hope that helps. That's about all I wanted to cover today, and I'll